Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your girl Maya Desire here, and I have with me
Shima.
welcome to Fuck You Respectfully, the after show podcast, and we are here to break down a few points with P Valley season 2, episode 1, titled Pussyland. It's really dope. Season 2 is here, and we are all excited to be down in the valley where the girls get naked. So let's just hop in. Now, of course, we have the opening scene, and they are doing a drive-through strip club. Like, what is your take on that? I know that's not one of our biggest points, but it's a major thing with the scene opening that way. So, what do you think about it?
Well, I loved it. I thought it was so innovative. They were giving what needed to be gave. I loved seeing Mercedes on the pony. That was in Mercedes? That was who was that? You don't know who that was on the pony when they opened up, and she was like the final. It's another major character. You can't guess.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Oh, well, I guess we can move on from that then. But that was pretty amazing. I love that. The pole work and the outfits, all of that was amazing. But I thought that was innovative. I was excited.
Well, I think that a drive-through strip club, I'm definitely down. I would like to see one in real life. But I think the shadowing, the silhouettes, all that good stuff was really just like you said, innovative, creative to keep it going because the bills, the Pynk still got to get paid. So, um, one of my biggest points of this episode is when Autumn has a conversation with Uncle Clifford about the money that's been spent. Initially, in the final episode of season 1, we see Autumn drop 250K to save the Pink. Now there's literally, like, I believe $25,000 left. Of course, Uncle Clifford said that it was spent on saving the girls and, paying off bills and things of that nature. But what do you think is going on? Do you think Autumn has a right to be mad with Uncle Clifford about the way that the money was spent?
I do think that it does raise some concern. It was a lot of money. But Uncle Clifford did say that he had to pay for the girls because it was a pandemic and, people weren't coming out like that. And I think she has a right to be concerned about it. But the way she goes about it is like she doesn't have to be so snappy. I feel like she could ask him what's going on with the money. Like she should have been more involved with the finances, like of the club. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be that much money gone before you ask where's the money at. So
I don't think she thought she needed to. Uncle Clifford has been doing this for a while. She's already stated that, that it was the responsibility on both of them, but somehow along the lines the finances got, mixed up in there. I do believe that it is both their responsibility. And we saw it season 1, Uncle Clifford went handling business, paying the money orders, getting on the bad checklist because the check didn't clear,
and that's exactly why she needed to ask because he was bouncing checks. You know what I mean? He clearly wasn't managing his money, or the money wasn't being managed correctly by whoever was managing it, whether it's Uncle Clifford or anybody else. So I think that she should have been kind of on that since she dropped the money for it, and now she has part ownership of the club, and they made that very clear. This episode that she made that clear. Autumn made that clear. Like this is my club. She's kind of showing up as the boss lady. So
Yeah, I mean, she's bossing up, but she's definitely bossing up and with attitude. One of those supervisors or managers you would not want to work for, basically, because of how she's going about it. She's a little callous, a little cold, and it could be seen as grimy to some people. So I think that she should probably do a better job at talking to her people, especially Uncle Clifford, because no matter what, Uncle Clifford runs the Pink, like point blank, period. Even after the financial assistance, it's still Uncle Clifford's, club. And so, yeah, I'm very excited as to how Uncle Clifford is going to be seen in the episodes to come for sure. So, moving on to another major point, we see that Mercedes is really upset about the lack of pay that she's getting, right? She's been talking about how she's the one holding down the club because obviously we see her in the intro. We see the all the other girls are on the side, they're kind of
Yeah,
like,
Mercedes was the one on the pony.
okay, well, maybe she was.
No, she was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we see all the girls, on the sidelines, and then we see Mercedes, opening the show. Basically, she's the
Yeah.
showstopper, and she says, "Well, if it wasn't for me, none of y'all would be getting paid to begin with." So, what do you think? Do you think she has a right to be upset? Should she be getting paid more than the other girls? Like, what are your thoughts?
I feel like at this point, Mercedes should be part owner as well in the club because she has put in so much work. Working for the club for years and years. There's been times where it seemed like she wanted to leave sooner, but she stayed in order to continue to support Uncle Clifford and the club. So I think definitely, just like everybody else leveled up, I think it's time that we see Mercedes level up too. She should definitely not be having to dance in order to make ends meet. So I would like to see, because in season one we saw Mercedes and Autumn being more of a team, and so I would like to see them get back to being kind of those boss girls that are looking out for each other, because that's what it seemed like it was in season one. So I would like
Right.
to see Mercedes level up just as much as Uncle Clifford and Autumn have.
Well, I know Mercedes was on her way to leveling up in season one. She purchased the gym, right? She was getting ready for the dance studio, basically for the young girls. But of course, COVID came in, so there was a whole pandemic that happened, and of course, her mom was also using her, for money. So we saw that part as well. So I think although Mercedes does want to level up, she has a few obstacles in her way that she has to get taken care of. And hopefully we see her get the gym back, in season two, because like I said, the pandemic definitely it hit a lot of people differently. And of course, if money is not coming in, which we see in the first episode of season two, Mercedes is checking her bank statement, and she's negative in her account. So she knows that what she wants and what she needs to do to get it, which is why she's like fighting, because she's like, man, I need more money. This is not cutting it. So I think she does have a right to be upset, and I do think that she is going to definitely boss up and level up in this season. So I'm excited for that. The final point that I definitely want to hit on for season one is Diamond and him tearing Miss Mississippi, aka Keyshawn, a whole new asshole when she showed up at the dollar store. Okay. So she showed up at the dollar store to get Pampers. She didn't have her mask, and he was like, Keyshawn, what are you doing here? Like, she tried to apologize, and he's like really going off. Do you think he was valid in his feelings of how he felt and what he was saying to her?
I feel like that is an accurate representation of like people wearing masks down south. Like literally, that was we were all wearing masks down, up north, but down south, even when I went to go visit during the time of the heavy pandemic, it's like nobody was wearing their masks. So I think after a while, Diamond just got pissed off with everybody not wearing their masks. Of course, with Mississippi, it was a different vibe because he just wanted to snap at her anyway because he'd been waiting. He'd been waiting to see her at the door. So I think that he was over it. He was upset. He really is into Mississippi. And, on top of that, Mississippi's baby daddy done call him the N-word. So that's also like a thing. But yeah, I don't think he was, well, he was justified in, getting into Mississippi like that because Miss Mama's, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't see this whole man over here? Like, but I also feel like he missed the opportunity to possibly reconcile or see where Mississippi was coming from, you know.
I do think that her showing up, of course, at his place of work, right, which obviously would be the only place that she could run into him anyway, and trying to fake apologize. For me, I felt like it was fake. After all this time, you basically pulled a gun on this man. You chose an abusive man over a man who could possibly protect you and who has offered to take care of you on a number of occasions, and now you're here and you want what from him? Like, what do you want? What was the end goal? So I feel like Diamond was pent up with anger, like you said, about people who weren't wearing their mask, and then pent up with the whole situation because he hadn't really dealt with it. Because he really wanted to save her. I think he was hurting for her, so his hurt came out as anger. So I do feel like he definitely just he was hurt, more so than he was angry. But of course, we know that anger is festered by hurt. So I definitely think that he should have let her have it even more. I'm glad that he was respectful in his,
He was not
what I
respectful.
mean by that is like he didn't go out of his way to call her the B word. He was
Well,
he was
no, of
upset,
course
but
not.
he wasn't talking down to her. He didn't bring up her situation. He only really talked about how she treated him, how she made him feel. And so I think that even in all of that, it says a lot about who Diamond is as a person for this show. That he has a certain level of grounding. And he's really like the person that's, like he gonna give it to you straight, even if you don't want to hear it. So I want to see more of what this storyline will pertain to in the upcoming seasons. You know what I mean?
I don't know if he really said how he felt though. He just told her basically that her baby's daddy called him the N-word. And I don't think he really touched on how he felt because it was kind of self-explanatory how he possibly felt. And I think he wanted to tell Mississippi that because he knew that they could relate on the basis of race. And so he wanted to tell her because she's also black. So if your baby daddy is calling me this, then what is he calling you? And I think that's exactly pretty much what he said. Like he was like, I wonder what he calls you pretty much, if he's calling me this. So I think that even though Diamond wasn't calling her the B word or anything like that, he was kind of hot tempered, and it made me think about like how Keyshawn attracts like these men that have like these different types of aggression. And because even when Diamond was dealing with the people coming into the store, it was like the one guy that he smushed. I was like, oh God, Diamond, he's losing it. That's not the position. That's not the job that he wants to be in because
Right.
he's losing it. But I think that does show his personality. Although he is hot tempered, I think he kind of knows where to place the fire. And so yeah, it was
Yeah,
interesting.
I think that I would just consider him frustrated, probably like most people in a situation where you're working during the pandemic. Because I don't really know what that's like, but I know that there are a lot of friends that I had who were frustrated in working during the pandemic, right? Because they were putting themselves at risk. So it's like, I'm here putting myself at risk. I got my mask on. Like, where's your mask? Why don't you have a mask on? You know what I mean? So it was a buildup of everything. Like I said, I don't think he necessarily dealt with what happened with Keyshawn and the boyfriend. So now it's a buildup on top of that. And not to mention that, he was at the Pynk the night that we left off on season one when everything was happening with Montavious. So, we don't know what's going on. We're just, it could be so many different things that are why Diamond is angry and frustrated the way he is, and, pretty much like a ball of rage right now. So we will have to see what comes up in season two. And how these episodes play out and what the storyline looks like for Diamond. But I'm definitely excited because I like Diamond's character. I'm very very fond of him, so I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, and I think that you know, Keyshawn still going up to the store. I think and just trying to check for Diamond because she had to do a whole thing with the diaper situation in order to even get some free time away from her abusive baby father. So I think
Very
that
true.
her going up to the store, deep down inside, Keyshawn wants change, but I think that that speaks to the fact that it's very hard for people who are experiencing domestic violence abuse to get the change that they want because there's so many different mental barriers that are in the way. So even though Diamond wants to help her, it's interesting seeing that story play out because it's not as easy as people always say it's not as easy as you think. So her just walking away would have been like the perfect story ending
Hmm.
for season one. But seeing her work through this, I'm excited to see Keyshawn work through her domestic abuse, and actually come out hopefully, you know, riding high.
Yes, so we will see Keyshawn in the future, and I'm excited. So until next time, y'all, this is episode 1 of After You Respectfully, the podcast, the after show party. All right, so next time we'll see you. Peace.
Peace.